Cranes 11 through 15. If we can go faster, it'll be a miracle. So I started this because I finished my last project, art project. Art is fun, sometimes. Other times it's tedious and frustrating and I want to kill people, but out of frustration, of course. I also hate getting interrupted. It drives me nuts. I can do many things at once, but I prefer to finish a task before I start another task. Like every time I, have to change the decorations in the house. Like the other day, I just took down St. Pat's and I put up Easter. So like, you take down the layers. So there's the lights, there's the wall stuff, there's the tabletop stuff, etc. But yeah, so this figured it should take me a while, and whatever I decide to make with all of them should look pretty colorful, not to say the least. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I was very tired. What can we discuss? Let's see. I was just mentioning decorations. Can go into some things. All right. So we used to have this cool display board that separated the den from the living room. The den used to be a garage 1,000 years ago, and for each holiday, different things would go on the board, but we didn't put it up last year. And to be honest, no one had the money for to buy a new one, because I kind of used the other one for shelves up there for some Fast and Furious cars. But all the spare money was going to our family Disney trip, which had never happened prior to this past October. Stories in itself. But so I had a bunch of decorations this year for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's, St. Pat's, Easter, in that order, that didn't actually go out because a lot of the stuff went on the board. And to be honest, I didn't mind it, because I'm the only one that does it, and it takes a long time, and I don't have any help with it, so it's less work for me to do. So I'm fine with that. Why put in more effort for less people to enjoy it when we don't have to? See, that's the thing. We used to have big parties, like every holiday, and slowly but surely, as the years progressed, less and less people would come, and then we would have, as the years progressed, less and less money to do anything, let alone throw parties. But last year we were on severe austerity because of that trip we took. All right, I can talk about it. It's fine. We have the time. I was going to save it for a later time, but with these stories, they just flow organically, as your dreams do. I'm just talking off the cuff, too. There's no actually set dialogue. My family and I, so the four of us together, immediate family, never had been to Disney World, until this past October. I had gone with the school trip. My brother had gone with the school trip. My brother had then gone with various girlfriends over the years. He has a very particular type. His type of girl to date is rich female who has a wealthy family. That is his type. So October, the first like week of October, end of September, beginning of October, we went to Disney World, and first day was great. Was just hanging out at Disney Springs, doing the shops and stuff. And we all had saved so much money to actually go and pay for the trip, and it was hard to do, but it was a well needed week. But Disney is very different when you're in your late 20s and everything you had hoped and tried and dreamed to do did not come into fruition. So it's hard to go through Disney World and hearing happiness this and dreams will come true that and all this other stuff when it's not true unless you have money to do that. You literally need money to dream. You can't hope that something will happen. You could be as talented as... You could be the most talented person in whatever you want to do. But unless you have the money to market yourself, you will go absolutely nowhere. And it sucks. And I didn't realize that until we got to Florida. And I was miserable the entire week. So that was fun. But there were some great moments. I do remember, it all as one giant blur. The parades and the tangled toilets in Magic Kingdom, those were really, really cool for the city of Corona, for where Rapunzel and Eugene now rule over, or her parents still rule over. I'm actually still, I don't know who's in charge of Corona. It was cool, the artist direction, the Imagineering that went into all the parks and stuff is really cool. I'm excited to see eventually the Star Wars land, whenever that's built, and the Toy Story land, whenever that's built, in Hollywood Studios. But we were also down there for the last major hurricane, Hurricane Matthew, which killed a few people on the East Coast. Orlando was, was on lockdown. Well, specifically Disney World, the resorts, the parks. We had to leave all the parks by like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. the day before. When was that, the 5th or the 6th of October? I don't remember. October 6th, I think, is when everything closed at like 5. And then October 7th is when everything was shut down. Disney's only been shut down a couple of times since it's opened. And that happened to be one of them. And we were on lockdown. It was convenient though that my family and I, we all brought a lot of food with us. To, go to the parks and stuff. Because you can do that through the parks in Disney. So we had food to eat, for that day that we were all in lockdown and we couldn't leave the resort. But not everyone had that. So we were curious to see, what the food situation was like at the resort we were at. And there was a line that wrapped around the lobby 4 times, spiraled, just for people to get food. And it was creepy. It was scary that this is what had to happen in order for these people to eat that day. And we were in a resort that was right next to a river, so of course it's frightening watching the river rise as the storm is coming. And then the storm is there. So the rains and winds battered, and some limbs came down from trees, but nothing that serious in the particular section of Florida we were in at the time. So then, once the storm finally died down, the band was kind of lifted, like we all just kind of like started to roam, and we had to go to a neighboring resort to like actually eat dinner that night, because like the one we were at didn't have any food because the delivery trucks could get in because all the highways were shut, and it was a state of emergency, so it makes sense. But Disney was really, really cool with how they did everything. All the employees couldn't leave for safety purposes. They had costume characters interact with the kids, in the lobbies and stuff. The resorts we were staying at had arcades, so they made the arcade games free, which I thought was really cool. Keep everyone entertained. The electricity was still on, cable was still on. It was just it was creepy. It was creepy trying to sleep that night because we didn't know what to expect. You know, like I said, we were right on a river, so I mean it was a man-made river, but still it's a river. It's a body of water rushing past you. Who would have thought? The one time four of a family actually got to Disney and there was a hurricane that prevented anyone from doing anything aside from staying in our rooms. It was different, that's for sure. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if/when I'm ever to go back again, and with whom, what particular group, if there is a group. Who knows? Maybe I'll splurge the money I don't have on tickets by myself. I'm sure there's plenty of people I can meet. We're all down there. First time I went was with a school trip. That was very entertaining. Because, you know, you're in high school. And that was the first time I ever went. So, it's obviously very different if the first time you ever went to Disneyland or Disney World is when you're a kid, like in your single digits. But when you're a teenager and they're the first time, it's very different. So, you know, it was just cool hanging out with that particular class of friends for that, 6 days of, I don't remember how long we stayed. It was a February. It was like an extended weekend in February. I remember that. But it was entertaining, you know, experiencing it together as a class, as a group. You learn a lot about these people. You have to share rooms with them, so you would never like actually hang out with these people aside from, you know, the classroom, right? But then this particular class, we had a bunch of different like group trips, bonding trips, life trips, and I loved that class. It was really great. I don't talk to anyone from there anymore, but at the time we all needed it, and it was very cathartic that we could all just, you know, speak our minds and truths and question things together and answer things together. And we were all inquisitive, and it was really nice to have the same mindset as everyone. But that was a fun time together. You know, going away with friends to another state. We fundraised for so long for all of us to go. And we did. And it was really cool. I enjoyed it. So that is it. That is Cranes 11 through 15, I believe. You know, I always look at my watch before we start, but as I talk, I can't keep track of time. So, here we go. And the journey continues.